Hey there, stranger. It's been a while. I missed you. But I'm back, and dirtier than ever, and I'm going to tell you how computers were made obsolete in the 1950s.
What the f is dirty about that?
Butts! See? Dirty.
But stick, how can computers be obsolete if everyone is using computers today?
Well, obviously, the title is misleading.
What?
Because the computers that I'm talking about were the people who used to do all the math calculations that we now take for granted. So basically, before electronic computers became the if you had a lot of calculations to make, you just get a bunch of interns to do it for you. And probably for free.
Just the way interns are supposed to be used.
So if you've ever wondered how the internet worked in the 1800s, well, it worked on the blood, sweat, and tears of unpaid interns.
The internet was invented in the 1960s.
Well, if it were invented in the 1800s, that's how it would have worked.
Ooh, I love science.
Idiot.
Just like interns in IT start by dusting bits and shining mouse balls,
Say what?
some famous researchers like Johannes Kepler also started off by assisting another scientist in computation. It's like working at McDonald's. You don't want to do it, but you have to do it.
Who's this Kepler dude?
Famous astronomer. He is pretty much responsible for planetary orbits being explained by physics and not zippy zappic magic or whatever. And NASA named the space telescope after him. Now, in the same way that we use supercomputers today, people realized that you can divide the calculating part to more people and then aggregate the results. The first human supercomputer was built in 1757 and consisted of pointy nose over here, pointy head over there, and the lady of the group.
Couldn't read the names, could you?
Not even gonna try. Their purpose was to calculate the next approach of Halley's Comet, and they were off by just 2 days. Not bad for 18th century tech. And it was also the most accurate forecast at the time.
I can't even tie my stools with that accuracy.
Ew. Too many details.
Over time, human computer teams started to grow larger as problems became more complex. You know, the more people, the better the orgy.
Don't you mean more computer magic?
I said what I said. In the 19th century, scientists and governments were starting to collect a lot more data, particularly in astronomy, navigation, and surveying, and all that needed processing. So human computers became more widely used. During the First and Second World Wars, human computers were used for calculating ballistics trajectories. After that, in the US, the needs transitioned to number crunching of launch windows, trajectories, fuel consumption, and other details that helped make the US space program a success.
Wasn't the moon landing shot in Hollywood?
I'm not even gonna answer that. In 1945, the first general-purpose programmable computer, the ENIAC, was built, and the job of programming this electronic computer was done by the human computers. The transition to faster electronic computers was gradual. In the 1950s, electronic computers were prone to crashing, and humans were still considered better. This was a time when computer uptime of a few hours was considered good.
When is having a boner for hours not good?
Different kind of uptime.
Many human computers transitioned to working with these new electronic computers, and in doing so became the first programmers. And since most of the human computers in the 1950s were women, I guess it's 2-0 for girls in coding then.
Why 2?
I've mentioned in a previous video how the first programmer was Ada Lovelace in the 1800s, and she's also who Nvidia named their 4000 series GPUs after. Now, the reason for there having been more women in this line of work is a bit of a downer. This was in a time when sexual inequality and racial inequality were really bad. But f*** it. This is supposed to be a dirty video, not a sad one. So regardless of the original motivations, this ultimately helped women and minorities. If you want my opinion on this,
They don't.
I say stupid doesn't discriminate. Neither does genius. But people do, enough said. And if you like this video, just leave it a thumbs down. YouTube doesn't give a fuck. but I do, and I'll show it in the title. And if you accidentally click on the subscribe button while you're there, I will calculate next approach of Halley's Comet on paper with Barry and Rolly.
That, you're on your own.
Doesn't involve boobies?
No.
Then I'm out too.
You know, the US managed to land on the moon with human computers. Russians can't land an unmanned vehicle on the moon with modern tech. Feels poetic to me somehow.